everyone, and welcome to the next episode of our Product Inspiration series. Today we have a very exciting topic to discuss: Guided Selling and Playbooks in SAP Sales Cloud version 2. And joining me is Shailesh, the Senior Product Manager for this solution. Shailesh, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Kathy. I'm excited to dive into details about this innovative solution.
Let's start with the first question. Why did SAP invest in this new capability called Guided Selling, and how is it related to Playbooks in SAP Sales Cloud version 2?
Great question, Kathy. SAP invested in Guided Selling and Playbooks in SAP Sales Cloud version 2 because we recognize the needs for sales teams to have a more streamlined and effective process for identifying and closing deals. This innovation brings together multiple processes to provide actionable insights, improve data quality, and accurate recommendations and predictions. It ultimately helps sales teams to progress and close deals more efficiently.
That is fantastic to hear. Now let's move on to the second question. What concrete guided selling scenarios can be modeled using Playbooks in Sales Cloud version 2?
With Guided Selling, we offer sales teams the ability to identify the right opportunities and work through the sales cycle in an optimized workspace. The Playbook feature allows for customizable set of activities and action proposals tailored to each phase or cycle. This means playbooks are dynamically assigned to the right opportunity based on attributes of account and opportunities, keeping up with the changing needs and expectations from prospects and customers.
Impressive. And finally, how can customers adopt this new solution capability, and which potential value can it generate for the business?
Customers can easily adopt this new solution by defining and activating playbooks that are tailored to their specific sales processes. The guided selling process then provides them the necessary insights and recommendations to progress the opportunities through the sales cycle, ultimately leading to a more successful outcome. But now let's have a closer look into the system to see guided selling and playbooks in action.
So I've logged into Sales Cloud, and this is sort of the landing page or the home page, as we call it. And then there's some key sets of information available to me as a sales rep or a sales manager. And of course, you can customize this. So some key things like my opportunities, my win rate, my upcoming activities, any special information around any upcoming events that may have been planned. I can also create custom links and of course any video feed information that is available. So clicking on my opportunities, what this does is it takes me to the opportunity view. So this is what we call as the Kanban view for the opportunity. So there are two views. One is the Kanban view and in the table view. So I'll go through the Kanban view and then switch to the table view before we move on. So on the Kanban view, we have some queries. So out of the box, we provide some default queries like searching for all opportunities, my opportunities for my territories, and so on. And of course, you can also define custom queries if you want. Next, we have a set of quick filters. Again, these are all customizable, and you can have, I think, total of 6 of these on here. So these are something that, if you want to quickly look for something, so let's just look for opportunities for a specific account, you can quickly do that. You also have advanced filter, so you can have much more complex queries if you need to refine how your search is for specific filters, and then these queries can also be saved, and this is where they appear on the query selection there. Next, we have what we call as KPI charts. So these basically show the information that's below is shown in a graphical form, so that filtering is much more easier, and you get a sort of a summary view of what the data is showing below. In this case, let's say if grouping by sales phase, right? So it tells me, okay, 77% of the opportunities for this query are in identify opportunity, and I can click each of these segments. And then the filter below kind of shows only those specific opportunities. And of course, I can click on any of these segments on these other charts also. Closing this out. And on the Kanban, we also have capabilities to show additional information. So anything that has a blue tick mark here means this opportunity is ready to move to the next phase. So I can just drag and drop into the next phase or the previous phase if I need to move that. Some additional information around approvals. So if this opportunity is in an approval submitted state, so that kind of gets highlighted. so that the user can quickly see, okay, which opportunities are in different phases. Switching to the table view. Table view has a few additional capabilities which are not available in the Kanban view. And of course, the list view is something that a lot of people might be familiar to use with. You can download a list of opportunities from the table view. You also can do inline edits, so quick edits for specific fields. You can quickly do them without having to open the opportunity detail page. And if you select 2 or more rows, what we also have is called as mass edit. So you can edit 2 or more of these opportunities at the same time for certain specific fields. So in this case, let's see, if I wanted to change the close date of these 2 opportunities to a specific date, I can easily do that in one shot. I will not change that right now. And before I move into Playbook, what I wanted to show is how is the general layout of an opportunity detail page before we create a new opportunity. So I wanted to kind of cover that. So I have a existing opportunity because this has more data. So I wanted to showcase that. So on the left is what we call as the header area, and on the right is the main panel area. You can collapse the header area if you want, so that you can work on the opportunity on the main panel area. The header area itself also can be expanded to show some additional information. So there are a lot of header fields that are also shown on the header area. So you can expand that and get that information. The information here is kind of grouped into a few sections. The first 6 fields here shown are what we call as KPI fields. And again, these are all customizable per your business needs. Next we have is what we call as engagement graph. So there are certain set of activities that we track. So let's say appointments, call logs, email task visits. So this graph quickly shows, okay, what was the last time when you had a conversation with this customer using any of these activities, right? So if I take 57 appointment, which means that it has been 57 days since you had an appointment with the customer. And then the graph also will show you how that has progressed over the last 6 months or so. Next, we have the ML section. Again, we have the ML score is shown on the top. Hovering on that, it will also show the key factors that went into calculation of this ML score. We also have an ML graph of how the ML score has changed over time. So that is useful information, how engagement for the opportunity has progressed. And then we have some additional insights that we track for opportunity. On the right side, we have few key elements. On the top is the progress bar. So basically these markers track the different sales phases for the sales cycle. So in this case, the opportunity is at the decision sales phase, so which is sort of one phase before the closing phase. Clicking on each of these markers also shows, or gives you an opportunity if you want to start the opportunity back to a specific phase, or it will also show what specific playbooks have been applied at that specific sales phase. So in this case, there were 3 playbooks that got assigned, or 2 playbooks that took assigned, and then the user has created some manual activities. So that's what you would get that information. The next section is what we call as the recommendation bar. So in this area is where all the recommendations that are coming from Playbook, from machine learning, from relationship intelligence, from approvals, all these recommendations are shown in this bar. In this case, right now, this one is showing a recommendation coming from relationship intelligence, and what it's saying is, hey, you haven't talked to this contact for the last 200 days. Do you want to take up any follow-up action, whether you want to call him, set up an appointment, send him email, and so on. The next section, sort of the activities. So all the activities that have been going on with this opportunity are listed here. You can take notes. Shows the list of contacts, the sales team members involved in this opportunity, the products that have been involved in the opportunity, any competitors. Document flow just shows the graphical representation of the process. So like this lead was converted, and then this is where the opportunity got created, and then these are the follow-up activities that have been created for this opportunity. If you are into revenue sharing, then of course you can also have revenue partners here. Related entities, basically this shows linkage between any of the business transactions. So in this case, this is showing a lead which was the predecessor for this opportunity. So the lead got converted, And of course, you can manually add any additional set of entities if you want. So opportunities, leads, task, appointment, sales order, and so on. Cancel out of that. We also have what we call as involved parties. So any other parties, whether it's bill to, ship to, payer, or any custom parties that you may have. You can also have territory management. So you can assign specific territories for this opportunity. So that way you can also track the opportunity by territory. Let me attach a competitor product. So I think we had this section where the competitor was shown. So in this case, now the competitor card got updated. So clicking on this, which will show, okay, this is the 2 competitor products that are available in this opportunity. And you can see those competitors in a separate section also. You can also create sales codes. So we have products in this opportunity. Let me just close out this message. So you have products in this opportunity, and let's say you want to create a sales code. So all the information from the opportunity is transferred into the sales code creation. I'll ignore the errors and I will just save this. So in this case, the code will get created. And then I can see that code again into the opportunity. Refreshing the opportunity will show me the code. So yeah, so this is where the sales code that we just created is shown. This is again updated on the document flow. You can see the code that was just created is shown. Now what I'll do is I'll switch to the playbooks, and then we'll create a fresh opportunity and see how the playbooks kind of play or dynamically come into play as the opportunity progresses. So opening a playbook. So what we'll do is let's just for the sake of explanation of the playbook, let me just take this playbook. So playbook is basically a set of activities that you want the user to perform or the sales rep to perform based on what you think will help you win the opportunity. So for each phase, there are certain set of actions and activities that have been defined. So we support a lot of different activities. So appointment, tasks, surveys, emails, you can define in the playbook. Certain set of actions. So you can have the user update a set of fields, create codes. If there's a mashup that you can embed into the opportunity, you can do that. You can add approvals, and of course, we also support integration with the Service Cloud. So if you want to create case for this opportunity, you can do that. So these will all come in as recommendations. You can also translate this. So because these have been created specifically by you, you can translate each of these recommendations into different languages. So if the user logs in a different language, then that they will see that. So continuing with the playbooks, so there are different things that you can define for the playbook. So you can maintain the rules by which this playbook gets assigned. If you want this playbook to get assigned for specific accounts or organizations, you can do that. If you want this to get assigned for specific products or product groups. And finally, what we also have is effectiveness of the playbook. So we have insights which kind of shows what is happening with this playbook and how can you improve it. So for this playbook, there are 14 recommendations that are being tracked. So statistics has shown that, okay, on average, 11 of these recommendations are being accepted and 10 are completed, and the users are not creating any manual activities. The effectiveness score also shows, okay, this playbook has only been used in one opportunity, which has one. That's why the win rate is higher, but you can also see some of the other opportunities where this is still in progress. So as these get converted to won or lost status, then the effectiveness score will kind of change. So I wanted to take a playbook, which was, let's say, this specific playbook, which has a set of activities. And the main rule here is expected amount should be less than 100,000. So basically, once this condition is met, and of course, the other conditions that, okay, I will pick one of the accounts from this list, this playbook will get assigned. So first I'll create a opportunity without any expected value, and then I will change that expected value, and then the playbook kind of comes in. So I'm creating an opportunity. I can pick one of the accounts that was in the list. I'll just change this to my name so that in case I have to look for it, it's easier for me to look at it. So I leave the expected value blank so that initially the playbook is not assigned. So I will just open this opportunity now. So in this case, now you can see, okay, there is a recommendation bar, but there are no recommendations. And if I click on the phase marker, there is no playbook assigned. So the main condition here was this expected value needs to be less than 100,000. So right now it is blank, so the playbook will not get assigned. So let me change this to, let's say, 30,000 US dollars. And I save this. So now you can see that, okay, the playbook has been assigned. You'll get a message, proposals have been updated. And if I click on the phase marker, I can see this was the playbook that got assigned, and for this specific phase, these are the set of activities or actions that have been defined. One of the activities was an auto task, and that's why it was automatically accepted. And then we have some of the other ones, some other actions that are here, and then of course there's an approval needed. What I can do is I can quickly accept, let's say, some of the mandatory ones. And let me save that. So what will happen is, so now I have a bunch of activities. What I want to do is change this expected value to a higher value so that a second playbook kind of kicks in. So again, based on this new update in the expected value, you can see the proposals have again been updated. And then now you can see that there are two playbooks that have been assigned. So this is how the dynamic nature of the playbooks is. Based on how the opportunity is progressing, different playbooks kind of get assigned to the opportunity. Of course, different playbooks can also be taken away. So if I switch this back to a lower value, then the second playbook will kind of go away. And of course, in this, both of these, they have the approval. So we have a single step approval, and we also support multi-step approval. So let me just click on the approval before we end the demo. I will not go through the approval flow, but I just wanted to show how the approvals comes up. So once the opportunity has been set into an approval state, there's an approval section that comes up, which specifically will then say, okay, what are the things that need to be done? There are 5 approvers who can approve this. They will get notifications. I think in this case right now, because the conditions were not met, the status didn't change, but typically this would be in process, and once it's approved, it will show approved. And of course, you can also see the log of how the approval is progressing. So that is all I had as a demo of how guided selling and playbooks work, and hopefully this is useful and knowledgeable for you guys. Thank you.
Welcome to the world of SAP Intelligent CX. Our comprehensive suite of applications seamlessly integrates front-end and back-end systems, providing a unified and streamlined approach to managing customer interactions. We incorporate artificial intelligence that allows your team to work smarter and faster, and our industry-tailored use cases and partner ecosystem empowers organizations to deliver extraordinary experiences, build lasting relationships, and drive sustainable growth. Our composable SAP Customer Experience Suite enables leading brands to understand and protect customer data, increase lifetime value with personalized journeys, close more business faster, drive consistently profitable commerce outcomes, and deliver automated and agent-assisted service. Learn how you can deliver extraordinary customer experiences. Visit sap.com/cx.